Yeah.
MDC, look.
Hold up. Right at the gate.
On April 3rd, 2026, Daniel Hernandez stepped out of the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn like nothing ever happened, clutching a SpongeBob doll signed by Nicolas Maduro and rocking a chain worth over $2 million like it was light work. And instantly, the whispers hit the streets heavy. People saying he's about to get smoked any minute.
He actually made his first comment on Instagram by saying, "Coming to the rescue," okay?
In this video, we're breaking down everything. What really went down behind those walls, how he moved, and why none of the chaos people predicted actually showed up.
And in his bio, he put the comment that said, "Why everybody calling me a snitch? Am I missing something?"
April 3rd, 2026, those MDC Brooklyn doors swing open and out walks Tekashi, 6ix9ine, like he just pressed pause on life and hit play again. He just did 90 days, 3 months for stacking up supervised release violations like they were nothing. 2 failed drug tests for meth, a slick, unauthorized Vegas trip, showing up late to court like the rules didn't apply.
And I hope 6ix9ine treads very carefully.
Plus that March 2025 Florida raid where they found cocaine and MDMA, and that August 2025 mall situation where he put hands on someone calling him a snitch right to his face. He turned himself in January 6, 2026 on a live stream with streamer Adam Ross. Yeah, live for everybody to see.
Never had no problems, thank God. Nah, everybody cool. Everybody cool. Bro, that's what I'm saying.
Then boom, April 3rd, he's back out. Even a day early, they say. No hiding either. He's posting, celebrating, flashing a fresh $2.2 million custom chain, moving like those 90 days were just a quick break from the spotlight. No drama, no fights, nobody stepping up to test him. Nobody ran up on him, nobody. And that's wild, because this wasn't the first time the streets promised he wouldn't walk out clean.
So what I'm trying to say, I'm going to prison with that same mentality, I'm good. The day I'm supposed to die or something bad supposed to happen, God already got it written. So like, I'm not walking with no fear. When you walk with the Almighty, you walk confidently.
And once again, they were wrong. If you really want to understand how 6ix9ine made it to April 2026 untouched, you gotta rewind way back, not to the federal case, not to the courtroom, but to where it all really started. Back in 2017, Brooklyn, before the fame, before the headlines, he was just another unknown rapper trying to get heard.
On January 23rd, 2019, you originally pled not guilty, but on January 23rd, 2019, you changed your plea to guilty on all 9 charges against you, admitting to being a member of the 9 Trey Gangsters.
Daniel Hernandez grew up in Bushwick, moving between school, church, and a neighborhood where street life wasn't optional, it was part of survival. By his teens, school was out the window, he's selling weed just to get by, experimenting with music with zero industry ties. He's working at a bodega, barely making anything, no connections, no cosigns, but he had the internet, and that changed everything.
What's your definition of a snitch? Let's start there.
A snitch is somebody, I feel like a snitch will do anything to get out of a situation. I'm trying to say, like a snitch will get faced with something and will just give up their mother, their brother, everybody.
In 2017, he drops a photo, rainbow hair, grill shining, face tattoos everywhere, that bold 69 front and center, and it looked that basically dared anyone to say something about it. The post exploded, turned into a meme overnight, and suddenly people couldn't ignore him. Then November hits, he drops Gummo, produced by Pierre Bourne, shot right in Brooklyn with 9 Trey Bloods in the frame.
And then this happened on top of it, and that kind of put like the cherry on top.
So when 6ix9ine was on Del's project, Del's a FaceTime me and let me talk to 6ix9ine. And 6ix9ine was explaining these situations to me.
I don't know what could happen when I exit that mall, so I don't regret nothing because I will do it again.
That track didn't just move, it shook things up, peaking at number 12 on Billboard Hot 100 and going platinum by March 2018. By February 2018, his mixtape Day 69 debuts at number 4 on Billboard 200, from Bodega Worker to top charts in about 4 months. That's insane. But that gang presence in the videos, that wasn't just for show.
Like,
It's like, we brought this nigga to the hood. First of all,
please don't nobody make a comment.
By late 2017, he's tied in with the 9 Trey Gangsta Bloods through his manager Kifano Shotty Jordan. And later, under oath, he breaks it all down.
Give him a 5, but he outside, like he's chilling regular, you feel me? Like, this is regular, so why don't act like I did something wrong now?
This wasn't loyalty, it was business. They gave him protection, credibility, that street image, and he gave them money, funding moves, even backing a heroin deal in Bushwick. He was the bag, they were the muscle. It was a straight transaction. That deal crashed hard on November 18th, 2018, when federal agents ATF, NYPD, Homeland Security came through with a full takedown. Hernandez and 5 others got hit with racketeering.
Exactly. So it's like after that, I'm shutting up, bro. I'm not even gonna talk too much, you heard? That's it.
Firearms charges, attempted murder, drug trafficking, the whole list. He was staring at a minimum of 47 years. He walked into court saying not guilty, but the reality was heavy. By January 23rd, 2019, just 66 days later, he flips it all.
Yo, let's pull up to the
If I want to.
Okay.
That's how real it is. I'm telling y'all, like, if I want to, whatever I want to do, I could do.
Pleads guilty to all 9 counts, signs that cooperation deal, and agrees to testify against the same people he once called family in public. That move shook everything. Sentencing comes December 18th, 2019. He gets 2 years, already served 13 months, plus 5 years supervised release and community service.
Kodak Black took $1 million to do a song with 6ix9ine. Everybody else mad because 6ix9ine ain't coming in with that same outfit.
Then April 2020 hits, COVID changes everything. He gets out early on home confinement due to asthma concerns. The streets said he wouldn't last, but he jumped straight on Instagram Live May 8th, 2020, pulls over 2 million viewers at once. Then he drops Gooba.
You know what it's like. You knowing how easy it is to get caught up in some shit. When they said you a snitch, you should have left at him and went on about your way. Let's say you kill him, you still gonna be called a snitch. You still gonna be called it.
43 million views in 24 hours, breaking records. No hiding, no running, no witness protection. He stayed right in the spotlight. And when LA was offering rewards for reporting businesses breaking COVID rules, basically encouraging people to snitch, 6ix9ine leaned all the way in.
I knew what I was signing up for. I knew everything. I knew the guys I was rolling with, right? What I thought I knew, right?
He comments on it, then switches his profile picture to a cartoon version of himself sitting in a rat trap eating cheese. He didn't duck the label, it turned it into his brand. October 2024, he surrenders again for violations, does 45 days, comes out, nothing happens. January 2026, same story, turns himself in again, serves 90 days, comes out, still nothing. Vlad TV even asked him straight up if being labeled a cooperator made things dangerous inside. But going into that 90-day stint, he wasn't tense at all. He moved like someone who already knew the outcome.
God used me going to jail to clean my whole circle. God cut my grass so I could see the snakes in it.
Calm, unbothered, like he'd seen this movie before and knew how it ended. He serves the full time, walks out April 3rd, 2026, again, untouched. Nobody stepped up, nobody tested him. And that's where the real question hits. Not what happened, but why didn't anything happen? Because by street rules, by everything people claim stands firm, it should have gone different. And to understand why it didn't, you gotta really look at what he did in that courtroom. Because it wasn't small, it wasn't basic, and it definitely wasn't forgettable. What 6ix9ine gave the federal government wasn't just cooperation, it was a full breakdown from the inside,
years, right?
detailed and surgical. Prosecutors even called it extraordinary in their own filings.
That got all the
This
money
case,
who told on
United
everybody,
States
pull up
versus
and
Jones et
everybody looked the other
al.
way.
targeted the 9 Trey Gangsta Bloods in a massive federal racketeering sweep. When they arrested him November 18th, 2018, it wasn't random. It was coordinated, precise, and heavy. He was facing decades just off firearm charges alone and life. When you stack everything together, he said not guilty at first, but 66 days later, he changed everything and pleaded guilty across the board. And what came with that plea? A level of detail that shook the system. He didn't just admit membership, he mapped the entire structure. Who ranked where, how orders flowed, how prison leadership operated separate from street leadership, who could approve violence, how money moved. It was all laid out. He named names: Jamel, Mel Murda, Jones as the street leader, Shotty as second in command, and placed everyone else into their roles like a blueprint the government had been trying to build for years. Then he went even deeper. 3 straight days of testimony in September 2019, laying out crimes he funded, ordered, or took part in himself. He admitted paying $10,000 to $20,000 to have Chief Keef shot at outside the W Hotel in Times Square back in June 2018, saying it was to boost his status. He admitted to an armed robbery in Manhattan, involvement in a heroin deal in Bushwick, and confirmed details about the Barclays Center shooting tied to his feud with Casanova. He explained how violence actually got approved, how it was carried out, and where he fit in all of it with a level of blunt honesty that caught people off guard. And when it came to defending his choices, he drew a clear line. He framed it as not betraying innocent people, but cooperating against those he said robbed him, threatened him, and turned on him, whether people accept that or not. That was the logic he stood on every single time. The results hit hard. Anthony Harv Ellison got 24 years, Aljamiah Nuke Mack got around 17, others took multi-year deals, and Shotty, his own manager, got 15 years. When Vlad TV asked him how he felt about Shotty getting 15 years, there was no hesitation in his response. No regret, no second guessing, just a man fully standing on his decisions. And when that bigger question came about the culture, the backlash, everything surrounding his name, it was clear this wasn't confusion or pressure shaping him anymore. This was someone who built his own reasoning and locked into it completely. The backlash from the industry came fast and loud. Snoop Dogg, Meek Mill, Future, 50 Cent, Boozy, all weighing in, all kenning the situation from their side. Boaz, Vince Staples, more voices jumped in, and it got loud real fast. Diss tracks started flying, radio stations pulled back, and venues that once booked him shut the door completely. Podcasts, Instagram pages, YouTube channels, all of them lined up saying the same thing with full confidence. His time outside wasn't gonna last, and the streets would finish what the courts didn't. Then 2023 hits, and for a second, it looked like that prediction might actually land. 3 men caught 6ix9ine slipping in the sauna at an LA Fitness in Palm Beach County, Florida, and attacked him. It was serious. He ended up in the hospital. Headlines everywhere, suspects getting arrested. It felt like the moment people have been waiting on. But even that didn't stick the way people thought. He recovered, turned around, and sued the gym like it was just another situation to flip. And he didn't slow down either. He kept trolling, kept pushing buttons like nothing changed. Fast forward to August 2025, a man in a South Florida mall calls him a snitch straight to his face. And 6ix9ine reacts, attacks him right there. That move violated his supervised release and set off the chain reaction that led to his January 2026 surrender. And when Vlad TV asked him about it, no regret, no apology, just standing on what he did. Now every one of those moments, the gym attack, the mall situation, the diss tracks, the club run-ins, they were all real, no question. But here's what stands out. They didn't happen right after he got released. They were spread out over years, with long stretches where nothing happened at all. And not one of those moments turned into the final outcome people kept promising. So now the real question hits harder than ever. Why not? Why didn't anyone actually move the way the culture kept saying they would? Because when you look at it clearly, 6ix9ine walking free in 2020, again in 2024, and then again April 3rd, 2026, untouched every time it starts breaking apart one of hip-hop's biggest beliefs. The idea that the streets always enforce their rules, no exceptions, no delays, no loopholes. People said cooperation comes with guaranteed consequences, that no fame, no money could protect you from that outcome. But what actually happened tells a different story, and it's way more complicated than people want to admit. Back in 2020, while the internet was loud saying he was finished, that he'd never move safely again, something happened in Brooklyn that flipped the whole narrative. A group of guys from the neighborhood made a call. They brought him back to the hood and let him shoot a music video right there in their projects. And when that footage came out, recorded alongside Hassan Campbell, one of the guys involved started explaining why they allowed it. And what he said cut straight through years of talk with one simple point. People around him pushed back immediately, trying to shut it down, but he kept going. And what he built wasn't a defense of 6ix9ine, and it wasn't praising snitching either. It was about consistency, or the lack of it. He started pointing out something real. There were people in his own neighborhood, older figures, that everyone knew had cooperated with law enforcement years ago, in some decades back. And guess what? They were still around, still outside, still getting greeted, still moving freely like nothing happened. Nobody was pressing them. Nobody was making noise. It was quiet acceptance. Why? Because they were connected, because they had history, because they had relationships, and in some cases, because they had money. His point wasn't about right or wrong. It was about what actually happens. The so-called code people talk about, it already had exceptions built into it. And those exceptions weren't about what you did. They were about who you are, how long you've been around, and what you bring to the table. And that's where things get uncomfortable, because the outrage aimed at 6ix9ine was louder than anything those neighborhood figures ever faced. But the odd situation wasn't as different as people wanted it to be. He put a name on it. Selective politicking. Same action, different outcome depending on your status and your value. An older guy in the neighborhood who told years ago, he gets a pass, becomes part of the environment. But a rainbow-haired internet star who did it publicly in court, he becomes the main target of hate. So what's the real difference? It's not the act, it's the visibility. And underneath that visibility, it's always the bag. Money played a role in everything around 6ix9ine after prison. The same people who let him shoot that video in the hood, they weren't doing it to make a statement about loyalty or street codes. They did it because his name brings attention, views, numbers, and sometimes direct payment. Even negative attention still pays, and everybody in that space knew it. At one point, the question got asked straight, if there was zero money involved, would you still let him come through and shoot that video? One of the guys answered instantly. The response talked about personal choice, independence, doing what he wanted, but let's be real. That whole conversation was already surrounded by one thing, the value of 6ix9ine's name. Nobody in that room was confused about that, not for a second. Kodak Black took a whole $1 million just to do a song with him. That alone says everything. Others who were loud about him being untouchable behind the scenes, yeah, they still took meetings. And the ones who stayed away, it wasn't always about principles. It was about image. Like Lil Woody pointed out, some people weren't worried about right or wrong. They were worried about how it would look if they linked up. Woody actually spoke to 6ix9ine directly when the noise about street justice was at its peak. And what he told him wasn't hype, it was reality. That label, permanent. Nothing you do, no toughness, no dominance, no revenge can erase it. Which means the whole idea of fixing things through violence. That logic was already broken from the start. There was no move 6ix9ine could make to undo what was done. And at the same time, there was no move the streets could make that would actually settle it either. Because this wasn't rumor. This wasn't hearsay. This was documented, stamped, and locked into the U.S. federal court system forever. We're talking New York Times coverage, official indictments, 5K 1.1 letters, detailed transcripts. This wasn't something you could erase or rewrite. You can't fight paperwork like that. You can't street your way out of a public federal record. And 6ix9ine understood that way earlier than most people. His reaction wasn't to hide or apologize. It was the opposite. He leaned into it, flipped it, and turned it into part of his identity. In his Angie Martinez interview, he broke everything down step by step. No vague talk, just a timeline. The July 2018 kidnapping, the federal wiretap exposing betrayal from inside his own circle, even a moment back in November 2017 where he told the FBI he was ready to cooperate before he even got arrested. By the time he officially sat down to cooperate, in his eyes, everything was already done. The loyalty he thought he had, gone. The people he trusted already moved against him. So for him, it wasn't about choosing between loyalty and survival. It was realizing that loyalty wasn't even on the table anymore. And after laying all that out, date by date, situation by situation, he landed on a mindset he's clearly been carrying ever since. Now, whether you see that as real belief or just a calculated persona, that mindset created something powerful, something the streets couldn't really counter. Because you can't shame someone who doesn't accept shame. You can't break someone who doesn't agree with the judgment. And that same guy from Brooklyn, the one, speaking in that video, with 33 years of watching how things really go, he recognized the pattern instantly. He'd seen it play out for decades. The guy with money who cooperated, people looked the other way. The guy without money, different outcome. So let's be real. The enforcement was never just about the action. It was always about the power behind the person. April 3rd, 2026, 6ix9ine walks out of MDC Brooklyn rocking a $2.2 million chain, holding a SpongeBob doll like it's just another day. Aiden Ross already streamed the whole surrender. The internet already buzzing, the attention already locked in. And outside, nothing. No one waiting, no one running up, no chaos in the days after either. Even the same people who once let him shoot in the hood with zero security, no protection at all, already showed what was really going on. Just like that 33-year vet said, the streets didn't touch him because of one thing: selective politicking. It existed before him, and it's gonna exist long after him. It's in every city, every scene, every level. The code people talk about, it bends when money, attention, and influence get involved. And 6ix9ine mastered that environment. In a world driven by views, clicks, and attention, the bag protected him. The trolling kept him relevant, and his bold attitude, getting on camera and straight up saying, "I did what I did, I don't regret it," and they got what they deserved. That played a huge role too, not because everyone agreed with him, but because you can't enforce rules on someone who refuses to accept them. And that right there is why nothing happened. If you made it this far, tap in, hit that like button, subscribe, and share this with someone who needs to see the real breakdown. More videos like this coming, and you already know we're not holding back.